Alright, ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to show you guys how to go from the frame you saw in the first shot to the frame you see in the second shot. And everything that you need is here. And actually, you don't even need this. If you don't have a compressor, you can brush this stuff on, it's fine. I'm just spraying it because it's faster. I'll walk you over and show you the frame. I haven't done much special to this that like you couldn't do. I wrapped the fuel lines in tin foil. The rest of the stuff I just pulled out of the way. This cross member had a lot of flaky rust on it, so I wound up sandblasting it, but the rest of it is pretty much just power washed. I degreased it twice with just dollar store degreaser, and I'm only going to do to behind the cab where the cab sits, because once I get everything situated, I'm going to drop the cab on it and scoot it forward. I might be able to do that this weekend. We'll see what kind of equipment shows up to grade. So I want the top of all this stuff, the top of these cross members and everything is my main concern, and the outside, you know, to look nicer. So let me show you guys what I have. So again, that frame is clean, degreased twice, power washed. You can do the same thing with a stiff brush. The rusty metal primer is kind of key, and with all the shortages right now, I could only buy this today in a gallon, and I don't need a gallon, but after that you can put whatever you want on top of it. This is the stuff you guys saw me use a couple years ago on Clifford's bumper. They only have flat black for a top coat, so I'm going to try to mix these two because I think this is a semi-gloss, although I covered it up with paint. Harbor Freight purple gun, regulator, tip. I have clean dry air because I have an industrial air dryer, but you know, little inline filters, all you really need to spray paint. When you get these guns and you take them out of the box, the key is to clean them up. So I'll pull this out real quick. These purple guns are just awesome. They've gone up in price recently, but you know, it is what it is. What has not gone up in price, right? So I'm going to pull this out the back and show you guys exactly what I'm talking about in terms of cleaning. Bear with me here. So, see that goo? That's like some kind of protectant oil from the factory. It's a long ride from China, so that'll be in your nozzle and it'll be on your tip, and you need to take this apart and clean it out before you use it in the first place. And then after that, like, I'll clean it in between these, and then I'll probably just throw it away. A lot of people clean these and keep them for years, so I don't have that kind of patience. Well, I do have space now, so maybe I will keep this one. I definitely want to paint that one, because I think that's kind of the only thing that's keeping it hanging around here, is that people think it's junkier than it is. So I'll probably scuff that and shoot it. But anyway, I'm going to clean this out, put the gun together, and show you guys how I mix this and spray it. Alright, so when I spray this stuff, I just barely mix it, thin it with acetone, like 10%. And then the adjustments on the gun, down here is your air. You want to run that wide open. This is the amount of paint, and then on the other side here is your fan spray, how narrow or wide that is. The regulator I set for 20 psi with the trigger pulled. So yeah, I'm going to thin that up. I really just kind of do it by feel. I don't necessarily have a super formula, but it's at the 4. It's at this 5 line, so I'm going to go up to 5 there. That's probably about 10%. It's a hot day. I just want it to lay down. I just want it to flow through the gun. All right, ladies and gentlemen, happy Insurrection weekend. For me, it's Friday. For you, I don't know what day it'll be when I decide to upload this, but this is set for 23 hours or 22 hours or something. Basically overnight. And it dries. Social media is always hilarious because people think that I literally just painted this brown for no reason. But it dries pretty good in just a few minutes. But it dries hard overnight. As you can see, it's pretty difficult to damage. Yeah, I mean, for what it is, it's great. So because of supply chain shortages, etc., normally I would do that semi-gloss black for a frame, but they didn't have any semi-gloss black. I went to 2 stores. The price of fuel isn't worth continuing to run around, so I'm going to do it in flat black for a top coat. And I'm only worried about the sides and the top because I can get the bottom at any time, really. But before I put the cab on, I want all the areas that'll be inaccessible later to be covered up well and cleaned well, mainly like the top of those cross members. The tops of those cross members and where they meet the frame was the main area where there was a bunch of crap. So for the top coat, I'm not going to thin it. I didn't really need to thin it yesterday. It's a little cooler today than it was yesterday. Yesterday it was 92, today it's 88. I shouldn't have thinned it, but I did. Whatever, won't hurt a thing. When you thin paint, all you're doing is putting a solvent in it that allows it to flow out, and once it's out, once it sprays out, it evaporates. So your coating, the more you thin it, the thinner your coating is. So my paint was 10% thinner per coat than it needed to be. But top coat, I'm going to do 2 coats of this flat black. I'll let you guys watch me spray it. I'm going to be smarter today than I was yesterday and start on the other side so I don't have to step on the wet paint. But yeah, I'll set you guys up and get to spraying here. Second coat's on. It's really like 2.5, 3 coats. I went pretty heavy on like the cab mounts and stuff like that. Still wet. The area behind that cross member, I just went as far as my hose reached. Then I take this gun and I don't get a copyright strike. Take this gun and I take this air regulator off the bottom of it. And I clean the gun into the trash. And I come back tomorrow and I'll show you guys what it looks like when I take the foil off and everything else. So, Marv, good night, sweet prince. We'll see you tomorrow. All right, so grading is actually happening here at the shop. But to show you guys what this frame looks like, took all the tin foil, well, I guess I didn't take all the tin foil off. I took most of the tin foil off. It's the next day, another 24 hours. This stuff is harder than woodpecker lips. Cover's great. I mean, it's better than what the factory did. So 25 more years, I definitely won't care about this anymore. Again, from like, you can see the texture changes from like here back. I just sprayed that for fun. Really, I think it looks pretty nice. So it's ready for my pretty nice cab to go on. I'll show you guys this. I don't know if I've shown you how nice this cab is. I power washed it today and I wanted to get up in the cowl and all the paint came off of it, which was really weird because it is definitely a red cab. The paint coat inside the door is red, but I was considering just dropping it on there, but I think I might take the time to blast this down and paint it now, since it's so sketchy. And then there was a ton of crap in the cowl here, and I don't know if they didn't paint in here or what, but yeah. So anyway, cheap little makeover for my cheap restoration. Hope you guys enjoyed watching, and we'll see you next time on the Driveway Engineer. See ya.